Good morning. My name is Angie, and I'm here to talk to you about how to divorce your husband when he doesn't want you. So, I am coming to you to say that sometimes when you know that the relationship is over, sometimes your significant other isn't on the same page, doesn't realize that he doesn't feel like it could be over yet. Maybe he doesn't even know anything's wrong. So, what do you do? What do you do um, when you know that it's over, but your spouse doesn't? First of all, if you've tried various different ways of um, mediating and maybe going to counseling, talking through, and it's not working for you, uh, the best thing to do would be to start sourcing other people, start talking to maybe your friends may have a slightly biased opinion, whether it's for you, maybe it's for your spouse, maybe it's for your kids. If you know that you are just simply done, uh, I would suggest going to a third party. So, whether that is maybe an outside um, therapist, counselor, social worker, somebody that is able to give an outside opinion that doesn't necessarily know you, doesn't know your husband or your significant other, just to give a third party opinion. That would be awesome. If you and your significant other can go and talk together, that's a before this point. So at this point, uh, try going to a third party in order to talk and be honest. You need to be honest in order for it to work. So talk to a person that is going to provide some insight to why, be able to ask you specific questions on why you feel the way you do. Have you tried everything to get a broad picture? So, oh, coffee, very important. If you're at that point, you've been talking with somebody, you realize that it's over, you get the third party opinion that, okay, well, you've done everything that you can. They're going to give you some great suggestions as to what to do to go forward. There's some things that you need to consider at this point. You need to bring in, or at least think about the idea of bringing in a financial advisor on funds, because that's a major reason why people don't leave and they stay in a marriage or a relationship perhaps longer than they should. One of the main reasons is money. So, talk to a financial advisor on funds, bank accounts, investments, how those could possibly be split, how you can go about doing that um, in a way that will be beneficial to both of you, but also so that you don't get run over, so that you are informed. That is the main thing, so that you're informed. When you do things in an emotional state, you are more likely to make a rash decision, which you may regret later. Sometimes that's not always possible, but if you can, that's the best way to go. Another point is to talk to a lawyer. Just go for a consult. This is not about spending a whole ton of money that you don't need to. A lot of these services can be free for a consultation. So, just in order to get some information before you start going into the formal process. So, a lawyer or a legal advisor will be able to give you some insight for um, the process that is specific to you where you live, because it will vary from province, country, state, wherever you're at. And if you're able to avoid a lengthy and expensive court process, if you have a good lawyer or a legal advisor, they will advise you how to go about that. Um, so legal advice, very important, as far as, and this is, if you have a safety issue, if this is a domestic issue where you are concerned for your safety, this is a complete aside here, but you need to look after your safety first of yourself. And if there's any children involved, any pets, you need to look after that first. Everything else can be looked after. This is when safety is not a concern. If safety is a concern, you need to make sure you look after that first, and everything else will follow. So once you have looked after the finances and kind of laid that out, what you can do, you've talked to a legal advisor on a specific process. The importance here is to do one step at a time. It can seem very, very overwhelming. Break it down, do one thing, look after one area, go into another area, and look after that. Because if you can break it down into smaller pieces, it will be a lot less stress for you, and you'll be able to handle it better. Another main reason why people, and I'm going to speak about women just because that's where I'm coming from, but a lot of times you will stay in a situation longer possibly than you need to because of there being children involved. Now, it really depends on your situation here, but children are resilient. But it's important to know that there are ways to do it where the children are less impacted. This is a major event. Don't kid yourself, it is. But there are steps to take so that your children can still know that they are loved from both mom and dad, mom and mom, whoever the parental figures are, despite there being a split up. You need to be aware that you need to always take that high road. It's going to be very, very difficult because you're in a world full of pain, and it takes a lot to be able to put that to the side burner to be strong for your children. That said, a lot of times we stay longer than is healthy, whether it be physical, whether it be mental, spiritually, whatever the case is. It's just important to start looking at how that can impact. If you stay longer than you need to or you should, and that's a relative thing, each person in each situation is different, but staying longer also impacts their children because they see you in a situation that is not healthy. So you want to show your children what a healthy relationship is like and what it should look like. So for parenting and co-parenting, I know specific to where I'm from, Manitoba, Canada, there is a pilot program that involves mediation, which eliminates expensive legal bills, and it has a program called For the Sake of the Children, and it goes over how to put your children first. It's a pilot program. It is, from what I hear, incredible. I would encourage you, no matter where you're from, to investigate the resources for where you're from, to see if there is anything similar to that. However, this can lead into the legal aspect where you can If you don't know where to go, ask your legal advisor. They may have some options. You have a financial advisor that may have some insight as well. Go online and look for collaborative law or mediation possibilities for divorce, and you may be able to search out specific to your area where you're from. This type of program is huge. I just found out about this last week for where I'm from, so I had no idea that it was even a possibility, as it wasn't available in my case. So really important to look at how to incorporate ways to put the children first without being a bidding war and just a fight and using the children as pawns in a separation, divorce, whatever the case is. So you always want to make sure that those children know that despite what is going through, no matter what you say, they still may feel that anyway. So do what you can in order to minimize that. Those are three major factors. You also need to look at how you're going to look after yourself during this aspect. Where are you going to live? Are you able to support yourself on your own? Or if you are taking the children with you, are you able to support yourself and your children? Again, these are things that you want to take in bite by bite, because you don't want to use each of these as a prevention from leaving if you have come to that decision. But still, these are factors that you want to take into consideration when you have decided that you are at the end and there's no reconciling. So when you go to look at whether you can afford it or not, perhaps the question is, how can I make this an affordable situation? Whether you need to look at relatives to stay with, if you need to look at having a roommate, if there is subsidies available for being a parent, a single parent now, or a single person. All of these things are aspects to just mark down on the list so that you are aware of what you need to look at. There are lots of options, lots of government assistance even. Again, that will vary from where you are from. There could be low-cost housing on a scale of what you make. That may or may not apply to you depending on your income. Again, financial advisor will be able to help you in that aspect. Legal advice could also be a factor in there as well. So these are really all very important aspects. With moving out, do you need to look at a new house? So real estate agent may become a factor that you need to look at. Get one that is going to be looking after your best interests. You should all be doing that, but just feel that out. If you need to look at a new house, then by all means, check out real estate in your area. If you are in the Manitoba, Canada area, specifically Winnipeg, I personally know quite a few that I could recommend for you. Same with legal advisors, financial advisors, any of those aspects. If you are specifically living in the Winnipeg area, I have suggestions for you. So all of these things are factors that could be very, very helpful for you. Another aspect is school. If you're taking your children with you, you're going to need to look at school records, to transfer to another school if you're going without the like outside of school catchment area where they're going to be living. You need to be looking at what's involved in order to transfer them. Is it in the same school year? Is it outside the school year where you have time to gather this information? School transcripts will be an important factor as well. Some of those you may need to even get a doctor records, depending on, again, if you're moving outside school, outside city, outside province, whether it's to do with school or not, you're going to want to make sure that you have those documents in order to transfer to a new doctor if need be. If it doesn't apply to you, awesome, you can cross that one off the list right away. And that applies to pets too. So pets, if you are moving with your fur babies, do you need to look at transferring pet records? New work for you. Do you need to be moving outside where you're at? Do you need to look at new employment again? Or do you need to start looking for employment? If this is a case for you, if you need to now support yourself in the workplace, do you want to look at gaining employment or do you want to start your own business? The world is your oyster. You can now look at all of these things. Is there a dream that you wanted to start where you want to now start your own business? Husband didn't support it. Perhaps he did, but it just didn't ever come to be. So again, if you're looking at that, then again, a financial advisor may be of extreme value to you. If you're looking at employment, do you need to gather up and create your resumes? Go to the Chamber of Commerce or to, if you're, again, specific to Winnipeg, the Winnipeg enterprise may be of value to you. There's various other places that can help you create a very beneficial to you resume. Again, I know several people in and around the area, and you know what? Whether you're from this area or not, they can likely help you with this, with how technology is right now. So start looking at some online employment areas that are looking for jobs that you might be interested in. If you don't know what you're interested in, take a career, I'm not even sure what it's called, but it goes through does an assessment of what you're interested in, where your strengths are, and what possible avenues you may want to look at. Perhaps even if you are in a career and you want to switch it up, this is a great tool for that too. What are some other things that you need to look at? Moving expenses. How are you going to move yourself out of the home if you need to? Again, this is specific if you are the one leaving. If not, cross this one right off the list. But if you are the one leaving, you need to look at how are you going to be moving your items outside to a new home or to a new place of residence. Do you have the capability of using a moving company? Or do you have friends and relatives that could help you? If they have a truck, if they have, again, it's going to depend on weather too. So do they have capability of moving with a tarp or a covered vehicle? All things to consider in this aspect. Food-wise, do you have the capability of moving and having food available And especially, I mean, not only for yourself, but if you're taking children, you want to make sure that when you are moving to a new residence, you have food ready to go so that when you're going there, you can just at least have food on the table. This would be less of an issue if you are going to stay with friends or a relative to begin with. And you know what? Do not be afraid to ask for help. So many people think that they need to do this on their own. That's what this list building is going to be crucial for. Just remember, ask for help. This is a time when, if ever there is a time to reach out, don't feel like you're above it. Don't feel like you don't want to burden people. People don't know if you don't ask. People don't know if you don't tell them. You don't have to go through all the dirty details and just say, you know what, I'm going through a rough time. Can you help me out with this? Can you provide a meal? You will find out who is able to and who is not. It's an option. You don't know unless you ask. And don't take it personally if somebody says they cannot do it at this time. You don't know what they're going through either. But just don't take that first no as a defeat. Keep going, and keep asking whoever you possibly can in order to help you out. That's going to be a very key factor. It's so easy to keep everything bottled up inside. Different activities. If you have children and you're moving, you're going to want to keep their minds occupied while you are doing some of these things that you don't necessarily want your children peering over your shoulder, or just to keep them occupied while you can stay focused and concentrate. So a good idea to have some activities for them to do so that they can do that. They're going to be stressed, so keep that in mind. You're going to want to be strong for them as well. So have some activities that you know that they enjoy doing. If you can possibly have your children at a friend or a loved one, family member, just for certain times of the day, that is going to be huge. If you can do that, that way you can rest. You can do some things where you can focus, keep your mind on what's at task. All of these things will need to be completed, but if you have time to focus on them, that'll be a really important factor. So again, it comes to be very important. If you can ask, just put the ask out there. Just say, hey mom, hey dad, hey sis, friend, whoever, can you just take the kids just for, whatever, half an hour, or even have them come over to your place and you go out and do whatever you need to do. That's an option as well. So these are just a beginning list of things to keep in mind when you are considering, or if you've already come to that decision, to do when you are at a point of divorcing. When your husband does not want to, these are still things that you can do on your own. Just keep in mind that it could potentially be more difficult. So you're going to want to do some of these things away from him. But those first few are going to become crucial points for you if your husband is not in a willing position to let you go, or even to let the children go. You need to know your rights specific to where you are. You need to know how you're going to do it. So those first two factors, financial advisor, legal advice, are going to become very, very crucial in your moves as far as leaving. This will be so important. I can't stress that enough. If your husband doesn't want to, you're going to come up with so many different resistance methods from him, whether it is suggesting that you see another counselor. Just be strong and set your boundaries. These are things to do for yourself, for your own well-being. Set boundaries and stick to them. Stick to those boundaries. If you say no, you can explain yourself once, but if it keeps going round and round and round, just stick with it. Just say no, we've discussed this, and this is what it is. And you may want to go round and round, but just stay with your decision, because the moment that he sees that you can back down, you've lost the battle. So think about what boundaries you want to create for yourself. If it is on communication, if it is where you discuss things and it becomes into a large argument, again, set your boundaries. And when it becomes to a point of no longer speaking on a main, I want to say, amicable sense, stop the conversation and either leave the room or leave the home, leave whatever, because the point becomes then in engaging you. And if that's the ultimate goal, there's going to be no resolve. Again, if your husband doesn't want you, to resolve, or he doesn't want you to leave, the legal advice and the financial advisor, again, can't stress that enough, very important, because they will be able to give you the rights that you have in order for financing and for your legal rights. So I hope that is helpful for you in creating some options when you know that your relationship is done. Your hubby or your spouse isn't on the same page. So take that, start creating your list, and I hope this helps you out. Let me know if you need additional assistance. I am a relationship and divorce coach. I am the owner and founder of Shell to Shine, which helps women after divorce taking their pain and transforming it into passion and purpose. I also am the host of Rising Phoenix Talk Show, taking the stories of women who have overcome incredible trials and obstacles and adversities, and found a way to turn it into something of benefit and shining, taking their triumph or taking their trials and rising out of the ashes with it. Thank you so much, and I hope to hear from you soon. The banner should be coming across the bottom with my business, as well as booking a free appointment time with me if you want to talk further. Thank you. Have a great day.